Welcome to a new Breed of Golf Live. Michael Breed, so excited to be able to bring this to you once again on a Friday. We gave Thursday a shot. It was popular, but it's not nearly as popular as Friday. And so we bumped it back to Friday. You know, we've got a couple of things that we've got to do. Let me introduce you to the guys that get this done. Greg Ducharme wearing the team uni, by the way, and Steve Gibbs didn't get the memo on the uni, but you know what? If he stays in the dark there, you don't really see him so much. And so that's what we try to do. We try to keep him in the dark there, not on everything, just on this set. So those are the guys that are getting it done. Quick reminder about a couple of little different things. You know, I've got in my back pocket the poker chips. They're here. This was my favorite, the lavender one, but we've got 6 choices for you if you're interested in getting any of these poker chips or one of these poker chips. Just send an email to me at newbreedofgolf@michaelbreed.com. $6 includes everything. Elf Ducharme is packaging those things, sending them out to you. Also, too, by the way, Uncle Sam gets taken care of, too. So if you want some of our blessed poker chip ball markers, make sure you get that email to me. Now, today, what we want to talk about is partial shots. Partial shots are probably, I don't want to say they're intimidating, but they can be very intimidating. And typically it shows up on par threes. You come up to the par three, you take out your yardage finder, you shoot it, and all of a sudden you're at 138 and you're dead in between clubs and you got to go over water. So now I don't know what to do. I don't know. And so you struggle with the shot emotionally. You struggle with this shot on how to hit it. And the other thing is you rarely practice this. And so what I try to do in my teachings is try to bring to light to you areas where you can improve and then encourage you to go practice that. So whether it's how to take your range success to the golf course, or certainly in a situation like this, how to hit partial shots. So, and then the application of the partial shot. Where do you use this shot? Well, you're going to use it with those in-between shots as I talked about. You're also going to use it with wedges. So you'll use this shot when you've got say your pitching wedge is full, you hit it 90 yards. Well, now all of a sudden you've got an 85-yard shot and you don't know quite how to hit that partial shot. So I'm going to show you how to do this. And with wedges, it can be a little bit different as well than the irons. And then the other thing is, how am I going to be able to flight a ball down? Well, that might be a partial shot for you as well. Taking some spin out, taking some trajectory out. How would you do that? So that's what we're going to talk about today. Also, too, by the way, we're going to get to your questions. Any questions that you've got, send them over to me. Jump into the chat. Greg will read them out, and we'll get going. Now, before we get to all of this, let's go to an update on the leaderboard, what's happening at Jack's Place at the Memorial. And Greg, we've got one player who's kind of on fire out there on the golf course and now has a one-shot lead.
Yeah, Denny McCarthy, 3 under on the day. He's done. He's in at 7 under par, and we now have Davis Riley, one of these young stars, who's now tied him. He's 2 under on the day and tied him. Rory McIlroy, he's really on fire today. He's now in solo third, 4 under on the day, 6 under total. A couple of big names yet to go. Ricky Fowler is yet to go. He shot 2 under yesterday.
Is afternoon as well.
Spieth shot 2 under yesterday. He is yet to go. John Rahm is out there. He's at 1 under par, fighting hard. It's been kind of an interesting go for him. We saw him shank a shot. We saw him throw a club out there. We've seen him. We also saw him hit a ball yesterday from some thick rough about 30 feet into the water right in front of him. So it's been a very interesting time, but he's fighting hard at 1 under par.
There you go. So we'll keep you up to date as to what's taking place out at the Memorial as you're learning a little bit of, how to hit a given shot. And I think this is an important thing for you. Certainly another thing that you need to add to your arsenal of shots in your bag so that when you're out there, you're comfortable. And I continue to try to impress this upon you. When you are preparing yourself for a round of golf, you've got to make sure that you have a lot of shots in your bag. Certainly the partial shot is a shot that's incredibly important, and it's something that you don't practice. You typically go out, you hit some balls, you get used to your favorite clubs, you make a swing with a driver, you go to the putting green for about 5 minutes, and then you go out there. And then when you get done, you think about the shots that you've hit and maybe what you struggled with. You run to the driver, you run to the putter, and you run away from partial shots. And partial shots are vital for you to have success. They can steal confidence better than anything, out there. I know missing a putt can rob you of confidence, but partial shots can impact your entire game. It can impact your swing. It can make you think that you're not playing well, and you need to understand that stuff. As well, I want to encourage you, if there's a subject that you wanted to talk about and we don't get a chance to do it, send an email to me at anewbreedofgolf@michaelbreed.com and say, hey, Coach, I'd love to talk about plug lies in a bunker. I'd love to talk about short little chips or pitches I'm struggling with. Whatever it is, the area that you want, maybe it's an uneven lie, which we can do in here very, very easily. So I want to talk to you about the partial shots and being able to understand how to hit it. Now, in order for me to understand partial shots, what I need to do is I need to make a full swing and give you a baseline. So what I have here is I have a 7-iron. And when I swing full with a 7-iron, I'm going to get a shot that's going to be around 165 yards, maybe a little bit more, maybe a little bit less, but it's right around 165 yards. And the ball speed will be somewhere between 110 and 113 miles an hour. If I top it out above 113, that's because my knee's feeling a little bit better and maybe it's a little warmer outside. But so here's a 7-iron standard shot. Okay, so I gave this one a little bit. I hooked it a little bit, but come on up to the front, and what you're going to see is this massive, what I call massive hook with a 7-iron. And Greg, if you could maybe put a trace on these shots for us. Meanwhile, back at the ranch here, that ball speed was 113.9. That's going to be because I hit this thing with a little bit of hook spin. In fact, 1,100 RPMs of hook spin is quite a bit for me. That ball will typically go about 165 yards. That one went 168 because I hooked it. I shut the face down. So that's where I am. That's sort of my baseline. Now, what I want to do is I want to be able to take some distance off. And controlling that distance is going to have to do with a lot of different variables, and you have to get comfortable with the one that seems to work best for you, okay? So I want to run through some options on this shot and let you understand that you choose this, but you've got to get out there and practice. The first option is to make a full swing at a little slower speed. Now, this does not happen to be my favorite way to do this, but this is certainly a way that can be done. So we make a full swing, but what we're going to make sure of is that we kind of turn the volume down just a little bit. So again, my goal would be to try to get somewhere around 105 miles an hour of ball speed here. So full swing, slower speed. Okay, now come on up to the front here, and all I want you to look at is what's going on with the ball speed. Ball speed there was 109, so that was slower, but at the same time, not the shot that I'm trying to hit because I want to get this to 105. How do I slow this down? Well, one of the ways you slow it down is you just slow it down right from the start. And what I like to do if I'm trying to slow down a swing is I really try to feel like in my mind, and this is something that I got from my father, that I'm swinging in like shampoo in a shampoo bottle. And what happens when you're in there is there's so much resistance that's going on that you just don't fight it. And so again, a little slower. And so that one there, good shot. Ball went about 143 yards in the air. It ended up with about 147, but my ball speed there is about a 101. So you can see there's some variance in there. One's 109, one's 101. And that's one of the reasons why you might have a little bit of a difficult time with these partial shots, because what happens to you is that you're just slowing down here. And that slowing down it creates something that's unpredictable. So the other thing that I see happen with people when they are trying to take a partial shot is they just shut it down in the follow through. So I'm hitting a partial shot. I'm going to make a full swing. I'm going to come into here with my full speed, but I'm just going to stop it. I'm going to shut it down. Again, goal is 105 here, okay? So full swing, full length, but I try to shut it down. Now watch what happens on this one. Pretty good shot. Flew 167 yards. That's my normal. Ball speed was 113. That's my normal. Why does that not work? The reason why it doesn't work is that you don't know when you're shutting it down. And if you shut it down here or you shut it down over here, that can change the speed of the club. And in order for us to be able to have success with this shot, what we have to do is we have to control the speed of the club head. Sure, hitting the ball in the center of the club face is going to help you control the speed of the ball, but we have to control the speed of the club head in order for us to do that. And so the simplest way for me, and the one that I would encourage you to do, that doesn't mean you have to do it, but it's one that I would encourage you to do, is feel like you're making a shorter backswing. Now, that sometimes is inconsistent because you don't really have in mind where this arm, this club, whatever is stopping, right? So if I take the club back and I stop here versus here versus here versus here, I'm going to create varying speeds in that. So you have to be, when you do this, you have to be very, very consistent with where your arms, where the club is stopping. And so in my mind, what I try to do is I try to take it back so that my hands are at shoulder height. That's my goal. Now, they might not get to shoulder height and they might go just past shoulder height, but I'm in the area. I'm in the town I want to be in. I'm in the state I want to be in. I might not be at the address where I want to be, but I'm in that neighborhood, okay? So I'm going to take this, stop over here, see if I can get this to about 105. So here we go. Come on up here. Now, again, baseline for me on my 7-iron is about 165. So I want something that's going to be in that neighborhood of about 8 to 10 yards less. That's why I would be hitting a partial shot. There's a lot of reasons why, as I said, why you hit partial shots. So now what I got 107 there. Well, that's, you know what? Listen, that's close enough for me. Okay. That ball flew about 154 yards. So that's close enough for me. So I feel like that's pretty good. Now, how do we practice to get this to stop here? Well, you know, I love my little contraptions that I make out of PVC pipe. So what I have this little thing here. Now, in a face-on view, what you can see is that right here, and maybe Gibbsy, if you could, just give the down the line shot as well. So when I'm here, yeah, you can see that this is just slightly above my shoulder, which means when I take this club back, my hands can get to my shoulder right there. You can see my right hand at the shoulder, and I can get there, and I haven't gone past that. And you can see also, too, in the face-on that my hands are right about at the height of the shoulder right here. So now I'm here, and then I'm coming down. That camera right there is going to distort that just a little bit, Gibbsy. So let's go back to the other one there, which is the down the line camera one. Yeah, there you go. So now we go here and there, and now we're in a good spot. You can see all that, and you can see that the shaft of the golf club here is about perpendicular to the ground, which is exactly what I'm trying to do. So when I take this back and I get to there, you can see how this shaft and this bar right here kind of line up together. Now, my normal swing will get somewhere up into this space here. And what I've done with this little contraption is I've just set it so that it's on the height of my shoulders. I can alter that by getting closer to it, and now my arms have freedom to get above just a little bit more. Or if I get farther from it and I use it to stop the club shaft, now I'll be well underneath. So you can see how my arms are now parallel to the ground instead of just slightly past parallel to the ground. So what I'll do is make some swings where I feel like this, and then I swing through. Now, when we stop there, we're hitting the gas. So right from here, I'm going full bore. And what I know is when I get here and I take length out of my backswing, but I add the same speed into the downswing, I'm going to hit it solidly, and I'm going to get a consistent ball speed. I'm going to get a very consistent flight as well. You can see that last shot that I hit, and Gibbsy, if you could pull that up full, that ball didn't have any curve to it. It's a very, very straight shot there. No. Let's go to pull the sim full, if you would. And there you could see the flight of the golf ball there, and there's not a lot of curve to it. And the reason why there's not a lot of curve to it is I'm able to control that face, because now when I'm here, my body is rotating, carrying the club through, and it's going at a speed that is full for the length of the backswing, right? So if I take it to here and I go full, that's going to be a shorter ball distance, a shorter ball speed, a slower ball speed than if I go way up here like that and then go down and through. And so by shortening my arms, the length of my arms in my backswing, by making sure they don't go quite as far back. Now, all of a sudden, I'm starting the downswing from a different position, and that different position is going to take some distance out. So what you do is this. You set up here, make sure that this is just off of the shoulder, probably about I would say a grip or so. And then I go in here, and all I'm doing is I'm just feeling that right there. And you can see how the hands now are at the height of the shoulders. That's perfect. And then also too, my club shaft is about parallel to the ground. And then what I do from there is I make some backswings with my eyes closed to get a feel for this, because what you're trying to do is you can't use your eyes when you do this. And so the way you create feel in your body is by closing your eyes. And so when you close the eyes and you go to here, now all of a sudden you get a feel for this. And for me, I feel it with where my hands are. Some people feel it with their arms, some people feel it with their shoulders. Doesn't matter. What you have to do is you have to feel it. And the way you do that is you close your eyes. So set up a mirror at your house so that it's face on. Set up to an imaginary ball. Make your backswing. And stop, and then look. Hey, that looks exactly like where I want to go. Okay, I like that spot there. And so what you're doing is you're teaching your mind how to control your body, which is exactly what we're trying to do when we're playing the game. So now I got to make sure that's in the green. Is that in the green there? Yeah, that's in the green there. So I'm going to push this away just a little bit, like that. So I'm going to tilt this so it's in the right spot. So I need a little bit more here. Okay. Okay, that's where, okay, good. So that's what it feels like now. And that one there probably went a little bit long. So here and then there. So now what I'm going to do is I'm not trying to hit this far. I'm not worried about speed. Now I'm just worried about feeling this. So I want to get to where I just touched this. And then I'm going to go through. And don't be in a rush. Okay, I don't want you to be in a rush. This is all for feel. It's not for strike. It's not for distance. It's all for feel. So we get here again. Okay, so it's just a gentle nudge on that swim noodle that I'm feeling there. Here we go. I just felt that at the top of my forearm. That was perfect. Do one more here. Okay. So now I feel pretty good. And the golf balls now are going a relatively similar distance. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to lay this down, bring a ball in here. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to imagine that arm is hanging out like that, back and through. Okay. So that was really good. See if I can get another one. I'm not going full bore yet. I'm just getting to the point where I'm feeling like I can stop it. And what I'm thinking about when I'm hitting this is my arms getting to this certain spot. I'm visualizing this blue swim noodle right here, and I'm feeling where those hands are when they stop. And then just going down through. Okay, I'm going to hit one more, and then I'm going to try to give myself a little grade on the next one. Okay, so now that's the one where I go back and I go through with the speed that I'm looking for. I'm hitting the gas pedal, but I'm not slamming on the thing. I'm going to my normal speed, and all of a sudden I got 103.6, 104. That's what I'm trying to get. That ball goes out there at about 149, rolls out to 150. So I've taken some distance out of that shot. And as I continue to do this, what I should see is a golf ball that is in the 104 to 105 in speed. That's make sure I'm in the green here. So there. Okay. So that's what I'm trying to get. I'm trying to get about 104, 105. Okay. That was pretty good. I flipped that one a little bit. So that one there, the ball speed was up about 107. Now, again, if I'm trying to get 104, 105 and I get 107, great. That ball went 155 yards. It didn't go 165 yards. I took distance out, but I still also had some aggressiveness through the shot. And that's what's critical for you in these in-between shots. You have to have an aggressive nature, an aggressive mindset. And that's why taking it short to me and then accelerating through, that's an aggressive mindset. And when you have that, now all of a sudden, you're going to have a much greater ability to strike it in the center of the face. And when you get it in the center of the face, now all of a sudden, you probably got a chance to get the distance that you desire. Here we go again. Come on up to the front, and let's look at this. So these last shots that I've hit, I had 104, I had 107. This one here is 106. So now all of a sudden, I'm within 3 miles an hour of what I'm trying to do on those 3 shots. And again, just getting going. Haven't really had a chance to practice it fully yet and all that, but I've got some consistency where when I went to that one where you take a fuller swing and try to slow the speed down, I had one that was at 109 and one that was at 100. And I'm promising you, I was trying to get similar ball speeds. I couldn't do it. And I kind of feel like I'm not a bad player. I mean, I could shoot low scores. I have feel over this club. And for those of you that are not quite at that level, this is a whole lot easier for you to become, and I use this word loosely, proficient. You might not become proficient, but you're going to become predictable. And when you can have prediction over the ball speed, over the distance, over all that, now all of a sudden you have a chance. Now, I know you have one other question that's in your mind, and it's a great question. And that question is, Michael, you're sitting there with a launch monitor. You've got an About Golf simulator. You can do I don't have that. How do I practice this if I don't have it? And the answer to the question is, well, you go out to your range, you pick out the best balls that you have in you purchased range balls. Go through it systematically. Go, okay, this is a good ball. This is a good ball. And you put those aside. Get yourself loosened up with the bad ones. And then when you start working on what I'm talking about, then what you do is this. You don't go to hitting the good balls just yet. You start getting comfortable with this stopping in this spot. And one of the things that you can do, and Greg, I'm going to ask you if you would to come on over here. I want you to hold this club by the handle there. Stand over on this side. Gibbsy, if you can go to it down the line, get closer to me and put that arm, hold this thing, extend this out and hold it right there like that. Now you're going to hold it about at my shoulder, and then you're going to make sure that you're about there. So now when I'm swinging, so I need lower. So right about there. So now I go, and you can see where my arms are stopping. That's exactly what I'm trying to do. So that feels, so thank you. So if you can, what I want you to do is this. Get a friend of yours. You go to the range and you practice and ask him to hold that there so that you can get a feel over that.
It helps if they wear the same shirt too.
And then that's right. If you're on team unis, then you're in pretty good shape. But point is, what you want to do is you want to practice. You want to get a feel for that. Okay. And you can do this stuff. It takes a little bit of creativity. It takes a little bit of practice. But the next thing you know, what you're going to do is you're going to be able to control this, quite well. So here's what we do. Set up. Now I rehearse back to here, there, and now we'll go again. Okay. So this one there, pretty good shot, pretty good partial shot. It wasn't exactly what I wanted on that one, but you know what? I got 102. 102, not bad, particularly coming in here, first time back in. So I'm 102, 107 is the max. So I'm right. I'm like right there. And this thing flies out 145, goes to 148. Partial shots are really important. Now, here's the other thing where this will help you. I told you it will help you with wedges. It will also help you with punching out of trees. Many times you got an abbreviated backswing because all this stuff is there and you struggle with having confidence of the strike. And the reason why is because you're rushing so much here because you're taking this downswing and you want to start the downswing so that you don't take it back too far and you don't hit the tree or whatever. Well, now all of a sudden this will give you a little bit of confidence and a little bit of trust so that when you take the club back to here, now you can go through and you can make that motion. Remember that one that I just hit was 102 and it flew out about 145 and went to 148. That one there is 101.8. So just call it 102. And that one went 145 and rolled out to 148. So there's a consistency that you're getting there. And as you start to work on this and practice this, you're going to develop some consistency. Okay. So I'm pleading with you. I'm pleading with you. It's okay. We're mixing up some cameras here. But here's what I'm pleading with you to do. Please practice this stuff. The more times that you can get comfortable with situations that are uncomfortable on the golf course, you're going to improve. And when you can do this, you're going to get so much better. You have no idea. There are so many applications for the partial shot, the partial motion. Okay. All right. Let's get an update if we could. Been about 20 minutes, so I'm sure they played some golf. So give me an update as to what's taking place at the Memorial.
Well, Davis Riley made a bogey, so he is finished at 6 under par. He's one shot behind Denny McCarthy, who's at 7 under par and done. Rory is still at 6 under, one shot back. And Cam Young, who's not only a friend of the show, but a young rising star, he's at 5 under, even through just one
So he's
hole.
just getting going.
Yep, so we'll keep an eye on him. Xander Schauffele is at 3 under through 17, finishing up his round.
Yep.
Shane Lowry, 3 under. And John Rahm was still at 1 under par.
Okay.
Yep, he's still 1 under through 16 holes, finishing up his round. And some bigger names to come this afternoon.
And by the way, we're also going to give you an update as well as to what's happening with the U.S. Women's Open. We'll do that in just a second. But Greg, do we have any questions?
Yeah, we have quite a few here.
Okay.
So this one relates nicely. I assume that for partial shots, other than wedges, you're trying to find a variance of about 5 to 7 yards. I know it's varied by player and the gap between clubs, but is that generally right? This is from J-Nim, and he also says, I was assuming there's a 10 to 12 yard gap between normal swings.
Yeah, that's exactly right. So what you're trying to do is you want to understand how to cover these gaps. So there's a couple of different ways to cover gaps. One is to shorten swings and take less lofted clubs and get them to go a shorter distance. One option is to take more lofted clubs and figure out how to bash them. Well, you know what? For the most part, you guys can bash them, but you have a little bit of a difficult time in the shortening. And what I honestly prefer is not just being able to take 5 or 7 yards off, but to take somewhere, and I don't look for that type of precision. What I look for is ballparks. So if I can take 5 to 10 off, now all of a sudden I'm a little bit more comfortable with giving myself that kind of variance, right? And you need to understand that there are things that can change the distance that a ball will travel. One of them is the shortening. One of them is also to adrenaline, right? So there are times where, your partial shot is going to go a little bit farther. So you have to be able to play with adrenaline. But as a rule, what I would say is this: 5 to 10 is pretty good, right? So you get in here. Let's make sure I'm in the green here. You get in here. You want to take a little 5 to 10 off. So in this situation, I'm trying to get about, let's just say 155 to 158. So I'm going to stop in here. Let's see what we get. Okay. Now it's come up here again. My goal was 155 to 158. That was the target that I was trying to get. Ball went to 108 ball speed. Distance was 156. Ball went 159. So that's shy of my 165, 5 to 10. And that shot right there, I'm going to be very happy with. I'm not a tour pro. You're not a tour pro. So if you can get to where you're 5 to 10, great. Honestly, great. Okay, next one.
Okay. With a 30 to 50 yard wedge shot, is it better to go high or flight it low?
30 to 50 yard wedge shot.
That's from Anthony.
Okay, Anthony. So 30 to 50 yard wedge shot. So I'm going to take my 54-degree wedge. Now, to me, when I'm hitting wedges, and particularly partial wedges, so 30 to 50 yards, so I'm going to go. So that's 45. So come on up here and let's just look at this. This is 30 to 50, right? So 45-yard shot there. That ball had a 20-foot apex. But more importantly, and this is why you think about high or low, I think about launch. So the distance, if I launch it a little bit lower, it's probably not going to go quite as high. But my launch there is 28 degrees. That shot is basically the shot I'm trying to hit. I don't want to see you launch this ball high into the air, because what happens is, you know what? I'm going to draw here. I know we're not prepared to draw, but I'm going to draw. Am I going to draw? Here we go. So let's draw. Okay. If I lose you here, just let me know. So here's the way I see this in my mind. If I'm hitting a shot that's going to go 45 yards, so it's going to go from here to here. Dead straight line, that's 45 yards. That's a 45-yard string. If I hit this ball and it goes like this, that's probably longer than a 45-yard string, but not much. It might have been 48. But because there's a little hump in the middle of it, it goes to 45. But they're close. They're very close. Straight line, 45. Little hump in that thing, 48. But if I go like this, now all of a sudden, the length of that string, if I stretched it out, is probably going out to here. So the length of that string might be 65 yards. But because it's gone so high in the air, it goes 45. Well, what if, in order for me to hit this ball 65 yards, I have to have a faster club head speed than to hit this thing 48? And what if I mishit it? We know that that's going to not end up well. But what if I misjudge the launch? And now all of a sudden, instead of it going that high, it goes this high. But it has the speed, because it's got to go 60, it's got to go 65 yards in the total length of the string. And as a result, it ends up at 57 yards, which puts you in a precarious situation, because if you're on the green, now you've got a downhill putt. And if you're not on the green, you're in the back, which is a downhill chip, which is not fun. And maybe you're in a bunker back there. Who knows? And so the predictability of the distance control is going to be a whole lot better when your launch is lower, because the length of the string is more similar to a straight string. I hope that makes sense to you. That's the way I see the shot. And so what I'm trying to do is I want to hit a low launch penetrating shot. It's going to stop. I'm telling you, it's going to stop. Don't worry about it not stopping. But just get used to trying to flight something out a little bit lower so that launch angle is underneath, and gives you, if you could pull up the numbers, that launch angle, you want it to be under 30 degrees. Okay? So if it's under 30 degrees, let's go up to up here. If this is under 30 degrees right here, now you've had a really good chance of creating a string that's pretty close to the length of the straight string. 45 yards up here, 48 yards up here, 65 yards. That's why I want to launch it out a little bit lower. It's a little bit easier, a little bit more consistent. Okay? All right. Go ahead, Gregory.
But by the way, on that, just a quick comment. I used to watch Tiger Woods hit shots from that angle.
Yeah.
I'd get this great view of him from the side, and it looked like he hit it thin. They would come out so low, and when they got on the green, they stopped immediately. So yeah, it just couldn't agree more.
Don't have to worry about that.
This one from Ted. When I try to flight my wedges, either for a partial shot or wind related, I can have a dreaded shank happen. I don't have this issue with a full swing with the same clubs.
Wait, say it again. I'm sorry. I missed that. Go ahead.
When I try to flight my wedges, either
Yep.
for a partial shot or wind related, I can have the dreaded shank happen. I don't have this issue for a full swing with the same clubs.
Okay. So just with a wedge. Now, I will do my very best to try to explain this to you. And again, this is one of those where if I lose you here, you make sure to stop me. I'm turning the volume down on that. So when we hit partial wedge shots, for some reason, what we do is we don't move our body. So we stand here like this, and we go like this. And when you take the club back and you don't move your body, you open up the club face. And when you open up the club face, and now you come in here and my club face is open, you hit it in the hosel. So when you hit these partial wedges, that's another reason why I love what I was showing you with that 7-iron. What I want you to do when you hit partial wedges, and also too with the iron, I want you to feel your arms move, but I also want you to feel your chest move. So if I'm going to go partial here, little chest, and then I'm going to go through, and I'm going to hit a partial shot. This is my 46-degree wedge, which I'll hit normally about 130 yards. That thing there only went 55 yards. But the reason why it only went 55 yards is because I moved my body. I just didn't move it as completely. I moved my arms. I just didn't move them as fully. I still went through this with an aggressive motion, but the club doesn't have the speed. But what I did also do by doing all that was I had a square club face. And once you take this club back and you don't move your body, you have no choice but to spin the club face open. And that's where that shank's going to come from. So make sure when you're hitting your partial wedges that your body is still getting involved. Okay. And it'll be effortless. Okay.
All right. This one, this is from a little closer to the green. When I chip from near the green, I somehow hold my follow through, fearing that it will go too far away from the hole. Any advice on how to train my mind and go through the shot?
He holds his follow through. Does that mean he's not going through the shot?
Yeah, that's what I'm taking. Because he says any advice on how to get my mind to go through the shot. So he's not finishing on those chips around the green.
Okay. All right. So what I like to do when I'm hitting a chip around the green, and it's a little bit different than a pitch. If I'm hitting a pitch shot, a short one, I'm going to feel my body rotating. So stay with me here, Gibbsy. So when I hit that shot, I feel my body rotating here. Well, when you're hitting a little chip shot, you don't really need that rotation. And so there's got to be a way to get this to go through. Now, we are going to have a little bit of rotation, but not a massive amount that's going to be able to pull you through. So what I like to think about when I'm hitting a chip shot is I like to feel like I'm taking my trail hand, my right hand, and I'm pushing. I just want to push. So when I take this back and I get to here, I push. And once you push, you can't stop because you're pushing. You're not pulling. Pulling is a stop. Pushing is not a stop. Whatever the opposite of that is. So here, push. And when you push your hand, now all of a sudden, your body will have a little rotation. I'm not saying, and here's the other thing, I don't want you to thrust it. I just want you to push it. Okay? So you get here like this. Little chip shot, push, and now you're through the shot. Now the ball is going to track out and it's going to run the way you want, okay? So just push with your trail hand. And I want you to push the palm. Push that palm. Don't push the fingers. That's flipping. Push the palm. And now that bend in the trail wrist is there. The bend in the elbow, that changes. But the bend in the wrist, that doesn't change. If you flip, now that bend in the wrist changes and the bend in the elbow doesn't. I want to change the bend in the elbow, not the bend in the wrist. Okay? Show you that one more time. Here like this. Just like that. So the wrist doesn't change, the elbow changes. Okay? All right, Gregory.
This one from Joel. I was in a scramble yesterday. It's like I forgot how to play. I had a few pitch and chip situations, and I shanked them low and to the right. Even my trusted bump and run shot. Shank. Any ideas?
So this is probably nervousness. And one of the hard things to do is to get past the shank. You shank one, and all of a sudden it's literally like you got COVID. I mean, I'm not kidding you. You feel like you got a disease, and all you can do is hit a shank. And so what you have to do is you have to realize, hey, that happens, but that doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to hit shanks. But I go back to what I said before. I see more times than not players taking the golf club and spinning the face this way and then trying to hit it, and they can't recover it. Now, if it's a path issue, then this is what I like to do. I like to take, and Gibbsy, this is one where you're going to take camera 7 and you're going to put camera 7 down low, okay? And so what I'll do, if I'm worried about hitting shanks and I think it's a path issue, now I'm going to set this up, spin that way, go like that. And by the way, you can practice this when you're on the golf course. You don't need a golf ball to do this. Okay, so there you go. And now all you're going to do is just feel this club head staying in this channel. And if you keep that club head in the channel with a square face, you can't shank it. The only way you can shank it at that point is if you send it off this way. I don't want to hit a shank. It's contagious. I don't want COVID. So here's the deal. Keep it in there, and now you're fine. All you do is let the ball get in the way. And what I would do if I hit one shank, if I'm on the golf course and I hit one shank chip, I'm going to get 2 clubs out of my bag, 7, 8, 6, 7. Don't get a driver and a pitching wedge. Don't do that. Get clubs that are nearly the same. 9 iron, 8 iron, 8 iron, 7 iron, something like that. So I've got 8 iron, 7 iron here. I just put it on the ground. And then I'm just making sure that club head is staying in that channel just like that. And you practice that for a little bit. And then the next time you have a shank, you visualize, a shot, you visualize those 2 club shafts, and then boom, and then you'll hit the shot. You'll brush it perfectly. It'll be gone. Okay.
This one's from Christopher, but a couple other people, including Andrew, also asked about the same thing.
Okay.
I've always been a big proponent of choking down instead of a partial swing to lose yardage. What are your thoughts on this?
I like to choke down if I'm flighting down, but I've seen this too many times, and I have seen this too many times. Players grip down. I don't say choking down. Players grip down. So let's say I'm gripping down like this. So this is a 2-inch grip down. Now I'm going to take my 2-inch grip down, and I'm going to make my full 7 iron swing here. Okay. And now all of a sudden, what I get out of that shot, come on up to the screen, what I get out of that shot is 165 yards again. I got a ball speed on that one of 112. And what I see that happens to people when they grip down, and I used to be a big proponent of, if you're going to take distance off, grip down on it. Well, if gripping down helps you make a shorter swing, then I say grip down. But if gripping down doesn't help you make a shorter swing, then I say don't grip down. Because what I want is I want a shorter swing. And the problem is, and you hear this all the time, players will say this. They go, yeah, I was sitting there. I was in between clubs. So I did what I was supposed to do. I gripped down. I hit it so solidly that it took off like a bullet, and I went over the green. And I just don't know how that happens. How could I possibly grip down and hit it more solidly? I got 2 words for you. Anthony Kim. Anthony Kim. Anthony Kim gripped down like this. Gripped down like that. And I mean hit lasers. Didn't lose distance because the speed of the club can still be the same. It can still travel. You're only talking about, when you grip down, the most you can grip down, if I go all the way down here, the most I can grip down is about 3 inches, maybe 4, depending upon your hand size. But you get into this, and then you go ahead and just make your normal swing. Here we go. Come on up. So I went all the way down. I made my normal swing all the way down. 113 miles an hour ball speed, virtually the same as the last one. 168 yards, virtually the same as the last one. it doesn't make that big of a difference. What makes the difference in partial shots, taking distance off clubs, is the length of your backswing. End of story. And the speed of the club head. So if I make a shorter backswing and I stop this where I want to stop it, am I in the green? Yeah. So I make that shorter swing right there. I'm going to get about 102 to 107 miles an hour of ball speed. So we come up here. I did that same thing. I got 104. 104. That ball goes 153 yards. Partial shot. Stay away from that idea that if I grip down, I'm going to take distance off. It doesn't work that way. In fact, what that'll help you do as well, or remind you of, is, hey, you know what? If I grip down on my clubs, I can actually hit them more in the center of the club face, which is going to give me added ball speed. So maybe with my driver, if I'm struggling with the driver, I'm going to grip down and see what I get. So I'm not going to lose distance, as I just showed you. Okay, Gregory.
Quick update on U.S. Women's Open.
Yeah,
down at Pine Needles.
Okay,
we have Mina Harrogate, who is the overnight leader. She's 1 under on her round through 15. She shot 64 yesterday. She's 8 under now. But hot on her tail is Moria Juntanagarn, who's 4 under on the day through 16 holes and 6 under total.
Fabulous.
Only 2 back.
Fabulous.
And we still have the amateur Ingrid Lindblad, who is 6 under. She doesn't tee off till 2:35.
What's going on with Annika? What time does Annika tee off? Is she afternoon?
Annika,
she was at 3 over.
She was at 3 over. Let me see. I just got to get down here. Jennifer Cupjo's this afternoon. She's at 1 over as well. And Annika, just give me one. There she's 2:35.
So she's at 2:35.
Yep,
so
2:35.
Pine Needles, she still has a little bit of, it's East Coast, so still a couple hours yet to go for
tied 3
Annika.
over, tied 75th right now. So she's probably gonna have to shoot even.
Yeah,
1 under might.
I think to be safe, 3 over par probably is safe. It may go to 4. I don't think it's gonna go. I don't think it's gonna go to 2. I don't think it'll be +2.
So hopefully we see a nice even par round out of her.
Yeah, that would be fun to see.
Yep.
All right, we got another question.
Yes, this one from Melissa. Hi, Michael. I've played since I was 16. I'm now 65. I'm finding that a baseball type swing gives me a far freer club swing with more speed. Is there anything I need to be wary of?
So the baseball swing to me is, and I don't know whether it's a 10-finger grip that you're using, but typically baseball swings tend to have a little bit more wrist set in them this way. So the only thing that I would tell you to be wary of is sometimes with a baseball swing, you can get rid of power in the downswing. Now, it can happen with all swings, but it seems like players that baseball swing, they tend to let a little bit more angle happen between here, the lead forearm and the club shaft. And so when that starts to happen, now all of a sudden you get rid of it and you chuck it. And what I would suggest is this. What I want you to do is you're going to feel the angle that you have. Just maintain the angle. Just make sure that you're hanging on to that angle when you come down into that shot, because that's a power source. So here and there. And now all of a sudden what you're going to get when you do that is you're going to get some distance. You're going to get some consistency, because when you release this angle, that's when all of a sudden you start adding loft to this club. And when you add loft to the club, now all of a sudden the ball can take off on various launch angles. And when that happens, you can lose distance. Even though you have the same ball speed, I shouldn't even say lose distance. You can vary distance. So if it launches at 15 degrees versus launching at 21 degrees, now all of a sudden you're sending a ball up higher this way instead of out this way. Is a similar thing that I talked to you about before. If I send that thing way up like that and I have that string that's 45, but it's going way up there, it's going to come up way, way short. Okay.
This one from J Nim. Is your follow through different for a 25-yard chip shot than a partial wedge shot of 50 yards? It gets confusing in the range. When is it a chip? When is it a partial shot?
This is such an interesting question. Let me get a wedge here. So I know you're going to hate this. Is this James?
Yes.
Yeah. So James, I know you're going to hate this, because I hate giving this answer, but a lot depends on the shot that I'm trying to hit. So I would say this: chips and pitches are terms. So if I hit a short versus hitting a short but a longer short, okay? So a longer short is there. As I have longer shorts, I get different follow-throughs. But what really makes the biggest difference in the follow-through is the type of shot you're trying to hit. And that's why this is a bad answer. Because if I'm trying to hit a low shot, what I want to do is I want to keep the handle above the head. That's a low shot. And if I want to hit a high shot, I want the head to go past the handle. So more than distance, because I can hit a 25-yard shot that comes out low, right? That shot right there went 31 yards. It carried 16. If I take this pitching wedge and I hit a high shot, what was the launch on that? 17.5. So I take this, I'm going to hit a high shot. And I was trying to get that to go 31. It only went 28. So it's close. But here's what I did. Because one launched at 17 and one launched at 35, I all of a sudden had a different ball speed. My ball speed on that one's almost 35 miles an hour. But what happened was, because I was hitting it high, I actually let my hands get close to me here. They both roughly went about 30 yards. But when I went high, now I had this very, very different follow through. The head's above the handle's close to the body's in a full release. My trail heel, go back to the full one, Gibbsy. There you go. My trail heel's up in the air. If I hit this low one, that's going to go 16 and then 30. Now my follow through is here. My heel is slightly off the ground. And now I'm going to get a different shot. That one didn't get picked up by the sim. Let's see that again. So there we go. So now that one tracks out and goes about 33. And it's a different follow through. And so the shot itself has a greater effect on what the follow through looks like than the distance. And that would be the way that I want you to digest that. High, low, cutting, hooking, that has way more effect than I want to hit a 30-yard shot. I want to hit a 20-yard shot. Is my follow through different? Okay.
Christopher, by the way, says, thanks. I'm now racking my brain about how many times in the last 20 years I've been astonished when I went long gripping down. It makes sense now. And Mickey says, is there a rule or a scale used when playing into the wind or downwind?
No, there's not. And the reason why is that wind is variable. And so when you get wind being variable, it's unpredictable. The other thing is what really has an effect on that as well is your launch angles and your spin rates. Those have a lot to do with it. But what I would say to you is get comfortable with the partial shots. And then you almost have to teach yourself what a 1-club wind is versus what a 2-club wind is. But what I would say is when you play in the wind, what you want to do is, instead of being precise with the distance, be precise with the contact. So when you're in the wind, I'm going to say it again. When you're in the wind, be precise with the contact, not necessarily precise with your distance. And as a result, all of a sudden you aim to get it onto the green, not close to the hole. When it gets really windy, scores go up. So if you shoot, let's say you play a great round of golf and you shoot 78 normally, when you play in the wind, that great round of golf might be 85. Well, you don't have to make the ball go into the hole from the fairway. What you got to do is you got to get it onto the green. And the way you're going to get it onto the green or near the green is strike it solidly. So when you play in the wind, what I would urge you to do is focus on the strike and don't worry so much about the distance. Okay? Okay,
this one's from our friend Peter. Coach, what's up? I'm experimenting with putting the ball back in my stance to steepen the angle of attack and get more solid contact. but the path is more right now. How can I get it back in my stance, but still hit it straight?
Peter, I love you. I miss you, my friend. I know we had a little bit of a conversation on the radio that didn't quite go the way you wanted. I can see you smiling and laughing right now. I can hear it, actually. I can hear that laughter, which I miss. So what I would tell you is this. I prefer standing closer to a ball than moving the ball back in the stance. And ball position is one of my favorite topics to discuss. But if you're going to move the ball back in your stance, then what I would tell you to do, this is going to seem very, very logical, particularly for a guy like you that's as smart as you are. I would just aim left. Okay. And so if you move it back in your stance, I like to say, just aim a little bit more to the pull side, because now if you go down the line, Gibbsy, now if I go this way, my path is still going to be going out, but it's going to be going down the line relative to my target. So I'm here like this, and now I go like that, and it's still going to go down the line. So if you're going to move that ball back in your stance, just aim a little to the pull side, and you'll solve that problem. The other thing that you could do, Peter, just call me. I love you. Call me. I'll help you out. I promise I will. All right, here we go.
You gave me that tip one time when I was living in Florida, and it works like a charm.
That was before I knew you.
No, you did know me, but I wasn't here in the winter. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And I said
that was before you were a full-time guy.
Yeah, I was part-time. I said, it's really windy down here. I need to hit it low, but if I play it back in my stance, I block it way right. And you said, hey, aim left.
It's keen insight like that is coming out of the studio every single day. That's why we're hoping you have a good time and you play a little bit better. And by the way, you can get your orange shirt to be part of the team at footjoy.com. Go ahead.
Maybe orange poker chips are next. From
Good
this
call.
This one from Mike. Can you discuss the difference in approach shot for, say, a 60-yard pitch shot to a front pin versus 60-yard pitch shot to a back pin? How would you vary the trajectory?
Okay. So if I have a 60-yard shot to a front pin, I shift my mind first. And my mind is, I'm going to attack the flag from behind it. I know that most of you don't think that, but this is what I'm thinking. I'm going to attack the flag from behind it. So if I have a 60-yard front shot, I don't want 60. I want 62 to 65. If it goes 70, I'm still okay. So what I'm doing on that one, I'm going to play that club face a little bit open so that, and this is my 58. What I want to do is I want to be able to create a little bit more spin on this. It's not going to spin back a lot, but it's going to spin back some if I hit this properly. Right? So that shot right there. So we come up to the front, and what I got there was, again, 60-yard shot. I'm attacking it from behind the hole coming this way. So I hit it 65.5, and it spins back to 64, and I've got a 12-footer. Okay, provided that I was lined up properly and I hit it straight. That's the first thing that's in my mind. Now, if I'm trying to attack a back flag on a 60-yard shot, then what I'm trying to do is I don't want backspin. I want a ball that's going to land at 55 and then possibly roll out. At that point, I've got a ton of choices. So 60 front, one choice. Most lofted club, fan it open, and spin it. But if I go to the other one, now I could take, so this is my pitching wedge. So now what I'm going to do with my pitching wedge is, I don't want this to get to 60. I want this to get to 58, maybe 57. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to take some spin off. So I'm not going to make a big swing. I'm going to make a low flighted swing. So this thing is going out, landing, and then running up. Now, I didn't hit this hard enough, but you'll get the point. So that shot there, I flew 42 and it rolled out 49. So it's roughly rolling about 20 feet. And so the idea is, what you want to do is, with a back flag, you want the ball to be rolling to the flag, but not getting to 60. If I have 60 in the front, I'm hitting it past it and bringing it back. Okay? Okay. Unfortunately, this is all the time that we've got today, and so I've got to end this. But I can't thank you all enough for joining me once again on a New Breed of Golf Live. Please make sure you join us, by the way, this Saturday, tomorrow on CBS Sports. We've got Course Record. Greg and I are on Course Record leading into the Memorial, so make sure that you check the local listings of what time you're going up. But I think we are 2 o'clock on Saturday, leading into a 2:30 start for CBS and PGA Tour. As well, every single week, every single day, every single week, a New Breed of Golf on Sirius XM. Monday to Friday, we're 8 to 10, and then we have our best of shows on Saturday and Sunday. So make sure you join us there. But more importantly, what I appreciate is you all spending time with us today on Friday, and certainly hoping that you guys have a wonderful weekend of golf, getting to play as much as you can and getting to play as good golf as you can. I remind you too, if you want those poker chips, make sure you send those emails to me. These are blessed poker chips, tons of birdies and tons of positive thoughts right here, all in that poker chip. You can get those. Send me an email at newbreedofgolf@michaelbreed.com. And finally, if there are any topics of conversation that you'd like to discuss, send an email to me at newbreedofgolf@michaelbreed.com, and we will take those topics and we'll talk about them. What we're doing is every single week here, getting you ready to go play golf. And if you can give me some topics, it's fantastic. It gives us some thoughts. We've got them, but we want to help you improve your game. So appreciate everything. Have a wonderful weekend, and we'll see you on Saturday on CBS Sports, and again on Monday on Sirius XM. All the best to everybody.